to my channel, and if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, do subscribe and press the bell icon near the subscribe button so that you get the notifications of my latest videos, and do not forget to like and share the video. Okay, so today we'll be studying My Mother at 66. So this is basically the first poem of the book Flamingo of class 12 English, and let's get into the poem. So this poem, My Mother at 66, was written by Kamala Das. So let's get into the introduction, or let's know something about the poet Kamala Das. So she lived between 1934 to 2009, alright, and she was born in Malabar. Malabar is a very famous place and it is in Kerala. So she is a Malayali and she is recognized as one of India's foremost poet, and she has written many short stories and many novels, both in Malayalam and in English. And she is known, or her writings are known for their originality and versatility. They are original as well as versatile. And this poem especially, it reveals the sensitive human relationships in a lyrical idiom. Okay, so let's get into the poem now without any further delay. So basically what happens is Kamala Das and her mother drive to Cochin airport from their home, alright. So Kamala Das says that I was driving from my mother's home or my parents' home to Cochin airport as she had some work and she was actually going to some other place, leaving her home. So her mother just came to drop her, alright. So they were driving from their parents' home to Cochin airport, alright. So when they were driving, Kamala Das notices that her mother looks aged and she was dozing open-mouthed. Mostly our elderly people do this, right? They doze open-mouthed, which is actually not a good sign. So she notices her mother dozing open-mouthed and her face seemed ashen, just like that of a corpse. It seemed wrinkled and she was looking more and more aged. So she didn't want to accept the fact that her mother was getting more and more old and she may die soon. So what she did is, to distract herself, she started looking at the trees outside the windows of the car, okay, and she said the trees seemed young and they were sprinting with life, but that actually doesn't happen. But trees do not actually sprint, right? They do not run, but she just expressed it like they seemed young, just contrary to her mother who was old. The trees seemed young and they were seeming to be sprinting past them when they were traveling, alright. She also looked at some children who were rushing out of their homes to play with their friends and meet their neighbors, alright, and they soon reached the airport. Finally they reached the airport. So after the security check, Kamala Das finished the security check and she was standing a few yards away from her mother, alright. Like, this is Kamala Das, and after her security check, alright, this is her mother who was standing a few yards away from her, Kamala Das, and this is her mother. And she looked at her, but she was actually sad as she was leaving her mother. She thought that this might be the last meeting of me and my mom, but she didn't actually want that to happen, or she didn't want to reveal her emotions to her mom. So she just smiled and looked at her, wan and pale, just as the late winter's moon, and she felt that old familiar ache. She describes an old familiar ache of her childhood. Most of us have a fear that what will happen if my parents die, or what if I get lost from my parents. So she felt that old familiar ache because she could not imagine a life without her parents or without her mom. So after all this, she could not actually reveal all her emotions. So what she did is she just smiled and she said, "See you soon, Amma." And all she did was smile and smile and smile. So this is how the poem ends. In the next video or in the very next session, I'll be giving you a detailed explanation of the poem, the poetic devices used here, and line by line explanation will be given. Also, the question answers will be discussed, the theme of the poem, and other things. Alright, goodbye.